It is such an honor to be here, and I really want to thank the VegFest Colorado people for inviting me. You have such an amazing team, and you really are creating a blueprint for how other VegFests across the country should be organized. So I thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. And I thank all of you for being here, because it's you guys who make these events possible. So I'm so happy to see you all here. You know, anytime I get the chance to answer the call of go west, young man, go west, I take it. I'm from Pennsylvania, and any chance I have to head out here, especially when it's a place as beautiful and as awe-inspiring as Colorado. You know, with my job, I get to travel a lot. And as I'm sure is the case with most of you, everywhere I go, I am asked, when did you become vegan? And it turns out to actually be a fascinating question, because I think all of us can pinpoint that moment, that click over in our mind when it happened. But when you really start to think about the question and to think about your journeys, I think you're going to start to realize that that evolution started a long time before that actual click over happened. Where I'm from, I never heard words like vegan and vegetarian when I was growing up, or factory farms. You know, I am from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from a beautiful small town, not unlike Golden, Colorado. And I often describe my hometown as a classic Norman Rockwell painting, only with lots of camouflage and guns and stakes thrown in. I grew up encompassed in the meat-eating and hunting culture. It's always a hunting season there. Turkey season, bear season, elk season, small game season, archery season, muzzle loader season. I don't even know what a muzzle loader is, you know, and of course deer season. In fact, during deer season, the kids get off the first few days of school. I'd always go shopping with my mom. I prefer to go hunting for bargains instead of hunting for my furry little friends in the woods. When I was growing up, my dad was a butcher, and he actually ran a meat processing business. And when you're 7, 8, 9 years old, you want to emulate your parents. You want to do what they do. And so I tried at 7, 8, 9 years old each of the jobs in my dad's meat processing business. I tried skinning the deer and cutting the meat and tanning the hides and even making the sausage. None of those went so well, especially when you're at about nose level with the table. Eventually, I was relegated to the front desk, where when the hunters came in, I would write down what they wanted done with their meat. And I think it's kind of poetic now that that was kind of my first official paid writing gig. I got paid about $2 or $3 an hour by my dad, and now I've come full circle to writing vegan cookbooks. So it's been quite a journey. And you know, you flash forward a few years from those meat processing days, and I started writing cookbooks. They weren't vegan at first, as neither was I. But interestingly enough, the more cookbooks I wrote, the less meat I was eating. Those words, vegan, vegetarian, factory farm, they started popping up on my radar, and I was starting to take notice. Then I read Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer, which I'm sure is a book many of you have read or heard of. Exactly. I mean, it's a phenomenal book, and my ultimate transition to vegan, that click over for me came down to one word on one page in that one book. On page 266, Jonathan is writing about Thanksgiving turkeys. And it's really a metaphor for all of the animals on these factory farms. And he basically said that these beautiful and intelligent birds go through their entire lives unloved. And it was that one word, unloved. I immediately got a pen and I circled it. I got a highlighter and I highlighted. I never wanted to forget that word, because that became my rally cry. That became my call to action to make a difference in my life. And it was that unloved moment, coupled with my experiences earlier in my dad's meat processing business, that landed me on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And it was on that show that I got to look into the camera and essentially into the eyes of millions of our neighbors across the country. Maybe some of you were watching that day. And I got to deliver what will probably be the most perfect line to ever come out of my mouth. I got to look into that camera and into all those eyes out there, and I got to say, no living being, human or animal, should ever go through this life unloved. And to be able to look into that camera and know that I was connecting with our neighbors across the country in that way had a profound effect on me. You see, the evolution to vegan or to vegetarian is also the story of embracing compassion. I love the word compassion. I love saying it, I love hearing it, I love seeing it, I love creating with it, I love eating with it, and above all, I love living it. When you look at the word compassion, you really see two intertwined words. You see compass and passion. Compass meaning our direction in this life. Passion meaning what we love, our dreams, our goals, our natural gifts in this life. With every bite we take, we have the opportunity to embrace compassion. With every purchase we make at the grocery store and occasionally the liquor store, we have the opportunity to embrace compassion. When we decide not to buy that leather belt and to not buy that leather bag, we embrace compassion. When we stop at that cow pasture, which I do all the time, I can never get by a pasture with animals and not pull over and look into those beautiful eyes staring back at me. When we do that, we are embracing compassion. And you know, embracing compassion doesn't mean we're naive. I think there are some out there who look at the plant-based lifestyle and they think we live in some fantasy land, this unrealistic utopia that we're all working towards, which I don't see anything wrong with the utopia out there. But embracing compassion in the way we all do, it doesn't mean we're naive. When I stop at those pastures, I see the barns down in the distance, and I know that there will come a day down in those barns, a day that I'm not so happy about. But I also see the pasture gate, and I let myself for a minute fantasize what would happen if I went over and latched it and we all tried to make a run for it. I don't know how far we get, but we give it a good shot. But I also know that that moment with those animals is about so much more. It's about reconnecting with our fellow living beings. And those animals, those cows and all animals are so smart. Science tells us this as surely as our own hearts tell us this, that they are smart, intelligent animals. I'm also reminded that by looking into the eyes of our fellow living beings, that by doing that, we will learn more about the mysteries and the magic of this life than we ever could in any other way. And by doing so, we're embracing compassion. Every time someone confronts you and says, how can you not eat meat? I could never do that. Or, I could never give up cheese. How do you give up cheese? You have the opportunity to embrace compassion with your answer. When we lead by example and not through judgment or by being preachy about our plant-based lifestyle, we are embracing compassion. My dad, that former butcher and meat processing business owner, a few months ago, he came to me and he said, hey, you know those veggie burgers you're always eating? Do you mind if I try one? I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm not saying he's going vegan or vegetarian overnight, or at all. But to me, that was a step forward, because he's watched me do it. And I've never tried to get him or my mother to eat this stuff, but they've watched me, and so he came. I'm still working on my mom, though. She's a little tougher self. By coming here today, you each have shown that you are embracing compassion. You, my friends, have already moved the world ahead in that way, in a positive direction. So when my personal life changed after that unloved moment, my public career as a cookbook author had to change as well. So I became determined to smash through these silly and ridiculous stereotypes about vegans and plant-based food. You know, sometimes I get the sense that there are some non-vegans and non-vegetarians out there who think the only thing we eat is something akin to hummus smeared on cardboard, or that we use these weird ingredients that can only be found in some obscure health food store on Mars. I think we sort of have this reputation out there. So you know what? For my first vegan cookbook, The Tipsy Vegan, I added rum to that hummus. I added vodka to the salsa, tequila to the guacamole, whiskey to the peanuts, beer to the cake, amaretto to pancakes, wine to sorbet, and so much more. I was determined that on my watch, plant-based eating is going to be easy, fun, and delicious for everyone. Then I turned my attention to the grill, which has also been a place that traditionally hasn't been very welcoming to a lot of us. Well, now it is. For grilling vegan style, I tossed watermelon on the grill, popcorn on the grill, strawberries, peaches, coconuts on the grill, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on the grill, tofu, tempeh, and seitan like you've never seen them before. They became part of a DIY kebab bar with fantastic marinades and sauces, and little kids go crazy over the DIY kebab bar. And anything we can do to get young people, or really anyone eating healthier, is a good thing. With my books, the goal is always the same, to create a party in a book to which everyone is invited, even our carnivorous pals. That, to me, is also embracing compassion. And my cookbooks are what I call small town friendly, using easy techniques and ingredients that my family and friends in my small hometown and here in Golden, Colorado can find in your grocery stores and our grocery store, and occasionally again the liquor store. The next up is the cheesy vegan, which is coming this fall. Some have turned vegan cheese into a high art form, but it's not always so great tasting or easy to make. Well, I'm bringing vegan cheese home to Main Street for all of us to finally enjoy. The Cheesy Vegan has 24 easy homemade vegan cheese recipes and over 100 food recipes to use those cheeses in. But do you really want to know why I write cookbooks? The real reason I write these cookbooks? It's not because I want people to think I'm some famous chef. I'm not a chef. I'm just a regular guy on the street trying to make a difference like each and every one of you. And it's not because I want to see my name on a book. Sure, it's great, and I've worked hard to see that name on the book cover, but I don't do it because of that. I write my cookbooks so that those beautiful animals in those crammed cages on those factory farms know that they're not alone, so that they know that we are in those cages with them, with our arms wrapped tightly around them, and we're whispering in their ears, I love you. I want them to know they're not alone. I write my cookbooks so that those precious animals in those hellish and dark warehouses know that they are not alone. That they know we are there with our arms wrapped around them, and we are whispering in their ear, you are not alone. And I write my cookbooks so when that day comes, when those beautiful animals are dragged onto that slaughter floor, on some level, they know that they are not alone. That we are there right with them, arms wrapped around them, right until they're there. Right until the end, when their beautiful energy is free at last and finally peace. They will know we are there. That is why I write every word of this comics. Because that, to me, is embracing compassion. For me, my cookbooks have become a form of tasty activism. Each cookbook bears the same dedication as you heard in the introduction, to all the animals, so you know that you have not passed this way unloved. For me, and I hope for each of you, my recipes are one more way for each of us to embrace compassion and to move the world ahead in a positive and fun direction. You know, anytime I have the honor of being at an event like this, one that is filled with so much love and positive energy and compassion, I always imagine what it would look like from outer space. And I have no doubt that today, if we were up there looking down, there would be a brilliant golden light emanating out from Colorado. Thank you so much.